Remember, next month on the 2nd, I ask you to observe it and fast and pray.
Indeed, the earthquake struck on the 2nd of September, the second day of the next month, just as Prophet TB Joshua had prophesied.
Well, to Indonesia now, where rescuers are frantically searching for dozens of people who may still be trapped following Wednesday's powerful earthquake. Indonesia's president toured a remote village devastated by the quake. A landslide buried rows of homes and their inhabitants. Thousands of people are now homeless, and at least 57 people are dead. The president warns aftershocks could cause even more devastation.
Before the aftershocks really stop, you still have to be aware. Remember previous disasters in Nibire, Nias, and Aceh. There were a lot of aftershocks after the main quake. I hope there will be no aftershocks so we can immediately conduct the search and rescue.
With heavy machinery unable to reach some of the worst hit areas, some people clawed through the debris with their bare hands looking for signs of life. For one man, it was his worst nightmare. It's the human face of this natural disaster the region knows all too well. This father, Abdullah, watched as a landslide triggered by the powerful quake engulfed his home. Inside, his 11-year-old son, Rike. It was a powerful earthquake, Abdullah said. It began with a small tremor and kept getting bigger and bigger. I ran outside and saw a massive landslide. With bare hands, he frantically dug until he found the body of his child. I couldn't imagine my feeling at that time, sobbed the father. My house is shattered and my son is dead. You must know my feeling. When I ran towards the landslide, my only focus was to look for my son. As he prepared to bury his child, he spoke of the 5th grader who had dreams of growing up one day and becoming a pilot. The 7.0 magnitude quake hit 3 p.m. local time on Wednesday off the coast of Java. Worst affected, the West Java province, where hillsides were stripped of mud and rubble, swallowing homes in coastal towns.
Let us recall Prophet TB Joshua's words.
Pray for this nation. I'm seeing what has happened in the past, that the ground open and people sing, and the building.
The 7.0 magnitude quake hit 3 p.m. local time on Wednesday off the coast of Java. Worst affected, the West Java province, where hillsides were stripped of mud and rubble, swallowing homes in coastal towns. There were tremors and loud noises, this man said. Immediately after the quake, the landslide came. Rescuers working around the clock used hands and shovels to search through the debris. Some smell the earth for any signs of human remains. The arrival of heavy machinery was delayed until the roads were cleared. As authorities hold out little hope of finding any survivors, this rescue mission has quickly become a recovery operation that will drag on for weeks.
As the ground opened, many people sunk under the landslides caused by the earthquake, and many buildings collapsed. A landslide buried at least 11 homes in Cianjur. Those trapped in Cianjur on the island of Java have showed no signs of life since a 7.0 magnitude quake shook the region Wednesday.
Pray for this nation. I'm seeing what has happened in the past, that the ground open and people sing, and the building.
Just as Prophet TB Joshua had said, I'm seeing what has happened in the past. Indonesia is no stranger to major earthquakes. It is located on the Ring of Fire, an arc of fault lines circling the Pacific Basin that is prone to frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Here is another news report.
The death toll from Indonesia's powerful earthquake has now climbed to 64. A frantic search for survivors is underway to keep that number from growing. Now, roads blocked by rubble were cleared out today, allowing heavy machinery into the danger zone. The magnitude 7.0 quake jolted West Java on Wednesday. Thousands of buildings there collapsed. A landslide covered part of a village, and dozens of people may still be trapped in debris. One man who was pulled out described his ordeal.
I thought I was dead already, but thanks to God I survived. I was taken to hospital and was given 5 stitches on my hand. I haven't gone back to my house ever since. I am traumatized. No one knows if the earthquake will strike again. I don't want to be trapped again.
Due to the magnitude of the damage caused by the earthquake, the United Nations, universally known as the UN, took part in an emergency assessment mission on the Indonesian island of Java. The UN News Center reported, UN team surveys aftermath of Indonesia's lethal earthquake. Rescue teams in West Java, Indonesia, one day after the magnitude 7.0 quake struck. 3rd of September 2009. As the United Nations team today assessed emergency relief needs in the aftermath of the massive earthquake that struck Indonesia, local authorities said that the death toll had climbed to 57 and more than 3,000 people have been forced from their homes. Another 42 people are missing and feared buried following a landslide in Cianjur district, and almost 24,000 houses were either totally or partially damaged in yesterday's earthquake, with some 367 schools and 353 places of worship in West Java also affected, according to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. A team of 10 UN officials from various agencies were dispatched today to the areas most affected by the earthquake, which measures about 7.3 on the Richter scale, when it struck the Tasikmalaya district of West Java. Let us recall the words of Prophet TB Joshua.
Pray for this nation. I'm seeing what has happened in the past, that the ground open and people sing. And the building, a situation where the building, the whole thing, it has happened in the past. The same region. But this one now carry UN out of the letter I'm saying.
The letters that the Prophet specified, UN, clearly symbolizes the UN, the United Nations, the international organization of independent states formed in 1945 to promote international peace and security. The UN assessment team indeed visited the sites affected by the Indonesian earthquake. We at Emmanuel TV and the Synagogue Church of All Nations thank God for the prophetic revelation. We pray for the nation of Indonesia, her president, her citizens, and all those affected by the earthquake, that they would rely on God's strength. We have no sufficient strength of our own. Our natural courage is as perfect cowardice, our natural strength as perfect weakness. All our sufficiency is of God. In His strength, we must go forth and go on. We continue to pray for God's intervention in the affairs of this nation. To witness the power of prophecy firsthand on a personal, local and international level, join us every Sunday for our live service on Emmanuel TV at 9 a.m. West Africa time, 10 a.m. Central Africa time, 3 p.m. Indo-China time, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 12 a.m. Pacific time, and 3 a.m. USA Eastern Standard Time. This is Ruth reporting for Emmanuel TV. Remember, God is still saying something.